independently minded people, we like to generate our own electricity, gain a little extra independence from the man. What this means is we set up solar panels, we put in battery banks, and sometimes we rely on good old-fashioned manpower. Life off-grid is hard, but powering 2 fridges is even harder, which is why I want to show you the off-gridder here. The off-gridder started its former life as a chest freezer, which means it only froze food. Its operating temperature wasn't conducive to kegging, which is why we put a thermostat in here. And you've got a couple different choices with the thermostat. This one's analog, and off-grid that's important. It doesn't consume any juice. Some people are kind of frightened by wiring, and I'm one of them, but it's only 3 clips and it's not a big deal. You can get these at homebrew stores, although they're increasingly harder to find in lieu of digital ones that people seem to like more. So it took this normal operating temperature of 5 Fahrenheit, and we can bring it all the way up to 40 Fahrenheit, no problem. Its added benefit is that as it was a chest freezer, it has extra insulation, so it doesn't come on as nearly as often as a regular refrigerator. In addition, as you open the fridge lid, cold air doesn't spill out. That's another benefit for its efficiency. And secondly, much like the non-committer that I reviewed before, you don't need to actually make any modifications to this, which is nice. Also, you have the benefit of having food and beer together, so you're only operating 1 fridge, like I mentioned before. If you do want to do a digital thermostat, they're super easy. You plug in the fridge into the thermostat, set your temperature, and put it in here. And probably the last benefit is that it is really easy to pick up a keg, or at least in my opinion, pick up a keg and drop it in. You're not hurting your back, your lower back, kind of crouching down and stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look inside. So here we have our chest freezer converted to a kegerator. Some people, you probably hear this term before, a keezer, and a keezer is this combination of a chest freezer with a collar, a wooden collar. People do that to get more headspace. They remove the hinges, this goes on top, and through the wood they'll put the shanks, and the shanks is what pour the beer, that kind of classy bar look, and some people like to do that. My main goal in beer brewing and kegging is to make as least modifications as possible. This is still resellable after I'm done with it, should I choose to go that route. So here you see 2 kegs. On the right-hand side, there is no compressor. On the left-hand side, there is. So the only place I could put these were on the right-hand side. There's plenty of room here for them. I could put beers to the side, and that's great. Another benefit is I have increased thermal mass, which means my freezer, or now kind of keezer, turns on less than it would before. So you're probably thinking, hey, where's the CO2? I thought that you have to have a big CO2 tank around. Well, when we talk about in the basic keg gear, this application I'm using a paintball regulator, noted here, and a standard paintball tank, and it's fantastic. I don't have it in here now because I don't need to. I put perfectly carved beer in here, and I'll show you with my picnic tap, 6 feet of line, 3/16, and a Cobra tap head, I pour just fine. A little sour beer today. So you can see that, no problem. And I could probably pour 3 or 4 pints with it before it would start to get weak and pull CO2 out of the beer. In which case, when that happens, I take the CO2 regulator, the paintball thing, and I put it on my in, and I carb it up. And you're not going to hear anything now because I didn't pull nearly enough beer to take CO2 out of suspension. After you're done with that, you can take it off, put it to the side, or as I like to do sometimes, I put a zip tie around it, and I just hang it from the keg post. I always have it in there. However way you want to do it is fine. You can have a CO2, a 20-pound CO2 on the side, and just the same, when you've depleted the beer, you've taken a couple of draws, a couple pints, and you want to put CO2 back into it. Your regulator's probably set at maybe 12 psi. You pop that in connector in there, let it go until the gurgling stops in the regulator, and you're no worse for wear. Big fan of this application. Cheap, Craigslist, you can get these small things all day long for about 50 bucks. Your thermostat's gonna run 30. And best of all, you have an unmolested fridge.